G'day ladies and gents, welcome to War Thunder with Mags, and welcome to the November 22nd event. Now, this event, I'd love to be able to tell you that it was another easy event where I just went through and steamrolled it all and knocked the whole thing over in 20 minutes. It would be wonderful to say, but this one wasn't the case. I was expecting something like this to happen in the event soon enough to thin out the people that are going to be able to make it a closed beta, because they can't have everyone on the server doing it. And this was the first one they do, and it was a very close one for me. Today's event: destroy 40 ground targets in arcade, 28 ground targets in historical, or 5 ground targets in full real battle using only heavy bombers. Now this was a tough one for me because I only have one heavy bomber, the B-17E, the first of the B-17s you unlock, and I had only ever flown this thing once. Now, the first time I got it, I had to have a B-17 in my collection, took it out for a spin in arcade, decided I didn't like how it felt. I was much more of a dive bomber, medium bomber person, so I put it away and never really touched it again. Then this event comes along, and I was kicking myself. Now, I started, me and Kay teamed up, he'd fly top cover, I had to go bombing, to try and start doing this in arcade. What a stupid idea that was. Now, of course, most people were attempting this in arcade, so most of the teams consisted of bombers, but most had more than I did. I only had access to one. Those that didn't have bombers and couldn't do this event, well, they bought out the biggest dirt guns they could possibly find, and it was a slaughter. This is a couple of examples here. Now this one I didn't get shot down, and I just blew myself up. That's inexperienced pilot. Oops. And of course, only having one bomber in my lineup meant each arcade battle, once it was down, that was it. No more attempts. This arcade went a little bit better. At this stage I was up to 4 arcade battles and only 3 ground kills. I managed to get another 4 ground kills on this one, and the first G6 falls on me. I got a sneaky idea about sneaking around the back of the map and actually bombing the AA out on their base, and then moving back across their targets while they were engaging the front line. Worked really well. Took out the G6 and crippled the B-17, but it was almost flyable here. Yeah, I can get a couple more ground targets in, maybe pull this thing back out if I can just get the nose down. Yeah, I can line up that ground target and take it out as I'm trying to pull it down. Yeah, this is going to work. Maybe, yeah. I'll just get it around a little bit more. And no, there was another G6. And this was all the arcade battles. Those of you who tried this event know exactly what I'm talking about. This was just brutal. So we decided to give up on arcade and go try historical. We've only got access to one plane, all well and good. Now, the first couple of matches were horrible. I got shot down a lot trying to low-level bomb in a B-17 because I am useless at high-level bombing, mainly because I've never done it before. And then I come across this match. Now, this is the match that completed the event for me. I won't show all of it because this did go for nearly half an hour. I've cut the first 8 to 10 minutes of climbing out, and I'm going to cut the end off too. You don't need to see the whole thing. This will give you the idea how I completed the event. Now, a couple of interesting things happened on this event. First, this is the Berlin map. Now, the previous times I'd ran into this map was versus the Germans, so it was, of course, G6s. I saw a K4 at one stage, 50mm 410s, you know, all the bomber killers, and they were always unpleasant. This, however, was Berlin map 1945, the Allies versus Russia. So they had as many Ur-2s on their team as we had B-17s on our team. There were only 8 fighters total in this map. Everything else was a heavy bomber. Secondly, on this one, I decided to try and high-level bomb properly. Now, it's not full high-level bombing. I'm only floating at around 10,000 feet, I've tried to bury the B-17 in this thick cloud cover that covered the whole map and just make it hard to find and hope the enemy fighters, well, it sounds a bit mercenary, but hope the enemy fighters would go after our heavy bombers that were low altitude, and they did. And our fighters did a masterful job of trying to keep them alive. I think only one B-17 actually got shot down. And likewise, their team only lost one year. So here you can see, using the bomb site to try and line up targets. This aircraft is not fully upgraded. I got given a hint in the previous match about, from Kay actually, who's done a little bit of heavy bombing himself, dropping the landing flaps right when you're going to bomb to try and stabilise the aircraft. It does seem to work, especially on this one. I think the later models, I've never seen it done on any of the later B-17s. I think they might be more stable in flight. But it definitely made a difference on the B-17E. Hit, not a kill. LA-7 to my rear, but he's not really showing me any interest at the moment. I think he knows he can come and deal with me later. He's got fighters to play with for the moment. Kay's floating around in my rear trying to keep me alive. Unfortunately, Kay has not hasn't spent a lot of time leveling his US line. It hasn't interested him too much. So the best aircraft that he could pull out to do the job was only a P-47, and this is, you know, LA-7, P-51 territory. It's a great little airplane, but it struggles a bit with the manoeuvrability and the severe, you know, tanking ability of the fighters at this level. But he's bought me the time I've needed. I've gotten through the cloud cover. I'm now at a high enough altitude and far enough distance away to be too annoying for the enemy fighters to try and come at me. So I'm continuing to pick out bombing targets. Now, because I haven't got this thing upgraded, I've only got the base bomb load, which is 8 500s. I've used 2, got 1 kill. Second target I only damaged. Now on this map, I needed 7 kills from this point, and I only have 6 bombs. But honestly, by this point in time, I was sick and tired of the event. Kay was sick and tired of trying to cover my ass. We wanted this over. Lining up the next target. Now I'm using the inside bomb site because it's just so much more accurate than trying to use the holographic indicator. That, and well, I said in my dive bombing tutorial, I'm fully expecting down the track that the holographic indicator will actually be removed from historical battles, especially once you've got historical battles that have player tanks or player controlled tanks involved. It will just make it too easy to kill them. So if you remove it and force people to use the proper gun sight, it's far more difficult. Just trying to keep the aircraft steady, zoom in, release just before, so the momentum of the aircraft covers the last distance before the bomb is fully released. It's the one thing I've learned from my medium bombers and my dive bombers. The moment you hit the spacebar to release the bomb is not the time the bomb is actually released. The bomb releases from the plane is under its own momentum a split second after, so you actually have to release the bomb slightly early. Not by much, just enough for the bomb to get clear of the aircraft. Just before. If you're looking at the target indicator, the little red box around the target, the place to release is just as the target reticle is crossing the lower line on the target. So it's only a very small gap. Now I'm slowly bleeding altitude here. My high level bombing wasn't working. 10,000 feet was too much. I'm just not skilled enough to hit targets from that altitude. So I've dropped down to 6,000 feet. I'm slowly bleeding altitude with each pass, because at this moment we're actually down to only 2 fighters left in the game. Kay's been shot down. The rest of the team except the P-51 has been shot down. All the Russian team has left is a single LA-7. You might see him shooting around in the background on some of these shots. Now the second thing that was different about this match, and it happened when I was going in on my second last bombing target, or on my last bombing target I should say. I hate rammers with passion. I really do. I think it's just, you know, an accidental ram is fair enough. You know, your aircraft's been crippled, you just cannot maneuver out of the way. Shit happens. But deliberately going in and just smashing your aircraft into an enemy player's aircraft is just, it's no fun. You're not getting a kill, you're not getting experience out of it, nothing good is coming of it. But something different happened here. And it was a deliberate ram, but it was... Maybe it's just because it was beneficial to, well, to everybody trying to complete this event in this match. But it's one that I have a respect for. The P-51 engages this LA-7 shortly. Down to my last bomb, so this happens in the next few moments. I don't think I get it on film, but the P-51 engages this LA-7 and realises he's in a situation where he cannot shoot this LA-7 down. Now, the aircraft is so spread out across this map, everybody's been located. We know what the enemy team is in, we know that LA-7 is their last fighter, we know that P-51 is our last allied fighter. The P-51 gets himself into a spot where he's likely to be killed very shortly, so instead of just getting shot down and giving an LA-7 free rein to rip apart B-17s trying to complete the event, he turns his P-51 in and deliberately rams out the LA-7 and shoots a message through to the team to say, or to both teams, the Yers on the red team and all the B-17s on this side, good luck in completing the event, and leaves the event with nothing but heavy bombers, no fighters, nobody to harass. And what ends up happening is, well, everybody just goes around and cleans up everybody else's ground targets. Now, we actually lose. The Yers do a far better job of cleaning up the targets, and we win by ground cap. You can see they're already going at it hard here. But the Yer pilots at one stage seem to be circling off the side of the map. Now, they could have been bombing more targets, but they weren't. Now, they didn't say anything, but I have a funny feeling they were holding out for as long as they could before finishing the match to give the 17s time to, well, to clean up our events and get this over and done with. I think everyone wanted finished. Now, I missed a bomb target in there, so I have a couple more that I need to kill, but I have no bombs left. So, there's no fighters to harass. There's nothing but, well, there's still soft targets floating around. What do you do when you're out of bombs? B-17s have a lot of guns. You don't realise until you fly them exactly how many guns they have and where they can hit. B-17 over Berlin at 600 feet, using its defence gunners to strafe out soft targets. This is how, well, basically our entire team finished this event. Most of us, if you watch the camera in the background and see the B-17s, we're all at ground level now. Everybody's out of bombs. Even the Yers are out of bombs. We're strafing down soft targets using our guns. Coming up on the next one. I can see why I don't fly these things very often, although once things started working and I sort of come to grips with the size of this aircraft, overshoot it, that's alright. It's got guns coming out the back too, I'll use those. Once I come to grips with the size of this aircraft and how it handles, I was, as much as the event was annoying the hell out of me, I was actually starting to enjoy flying the B-17. So I think I'm going to have to spend a little bit more time with this plane. I am very interested in the later G models. The silver and black one is just beautiful. I've been tempted to buy the Lancaster for a long time too, because I've actually been inside one of those before. But that one I've been holding out for mainly because it's still not carrying its historical bomb load. And until they fix that, it's really only a shadow of what it's capable of, or what it actually was. So, just picking through my targets, the MGs aren't going to bust pillboxes, so without going back for bombs, and I'm not interested in going back for bombs, this isn't going to be finished that way. But there's still plenty of AA around. So yes, this is how I finally completed the event. I got a lucky match where both sides were trying to complete the bombing event. I made a smart move going high and putting myself into a spot where, well, it wasn't that the enemy fighters couldn't kill me, it was just that I was too irritating to be able to fly up there and kill me. I was too far out of the way. They had too much else that they could shoot at first. And a very honourable pilot who decided that doing a kamikaze run on the enemy fighter and then basically bowing out of the battle himself, allowing the bombers to do what bombers do and complete their event, was the best way to go. And it's, yeah, you'll never hear me to say this again, but I had a lot of respect for that rammer. So whoever that was, if you happen to be watching this video, I give you a salute. I'm not going to bother showing the rest of this. This is all this was from this point on. Pick out a soft target, fly towards it, strafe it out using the guns, pick the next soft target. It's not the most interesting viewing, and as much as flying a B-17 at 600 feet over Berlin looks amazing, although it would look better if I could get a better computer to up the graphics, there's only so much of it you can watch before you want to go do it yourself. So I'm going to call this one here, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you had better luck with the event than I did. My total completion time was just over 2 hours, making this the worst event that I've come across yet. One thing to keep in mind, it's likely that these events are going to start getting worse than this. I'm fully expecting there to be an event somewhere coming up that will be something. It will be something simple. It'll be kill 10 aircraft, but the restriction on it will be jets only, or something stupid like that. The reason why these events are starting to slip into high-tier aircraft that some of you just won't have is because the closed beta will not be running for a very long time, but it is for, they basically need a test group to beat the hell out of the ground forces in a public domain, see what they can break before it goes open. And the main reason for this is in the closed beta, why press will come in and have a look and get glimpses, they won't do reviews on a closed beta that is not ready. Once it goes open beta, however, press will start doing reviews and will start looking very closely at how it all operates. And they need it polished and working by then. The best way to try and break everything they've built so far is to put a whole bunch of players that are already in the game that have played enough levels to know how the mechanics in this game work and are very skilled at breaking things in the game already, and put them inside the ground forces to do the same thing that they've been doing for the last several months with the aircraft. So I'm expecting more of these events that will be just, it will be hard for a lot of people. You simply will not have the access to the aircraft to be able to complete them. It's disappointing, but hopefully the open beta period will not last long and will be a very short period of time before everybody's in tanks and plugging away. And if it makes anyone feel better, in most cases when there is a changeover from closed beta to open beta, everything is reset. So nobody's getting a head start here. It is, I don't have any information on this, I want to stress that, but it is likely that anybody who gets onto the closed beta will play probably a couple of weeks before open beta comes along at a rough guess, I'm sort of expecting ground forces to be open by around Christmas, or at least very early New Year. Again, this is just a guess. But it is also likely that everybody who plays ground forces in the closed beta between now and then will have all their accounts for ground forces reset, so everybody will be starting from scratch. Well, I'm going to call this one here. Hope you enjoyed the video. As I said before, I hope you had better luck with this event than I did. Fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the skies.